Funny Friday Moments with Nazareth. He is one of America's top inspirational comedians. Join us here, Fridays for your laughs, fills, and trills.
But I love this country because we are the junk food capital of the world. Did you know that? We have good food here. We have food here that if people from other countries ate it, they'll be dead by now. But we don't because we have drug companies backing us up. Oh, they want to kill us, you know that. Not only not a burrito, they put a quesadilla over it and make it a churrito, whatever. Everything, they just want to kill you. Taco Bell wants to kill you. All these people, maybe we should join these people together, the drug companies and the fast food. We'll have products like Lipitor fries, Zantac chalupa, insulin fried apple pie. Because we're all a little overweight, you know what I mean? We know that. The only people who don't get it are the magazine people. Every magazine cover, they always have a woman that looks like a stick, dressed like my insurance policy, hardly covers anything. I know, I couldn't sign up on Obamacare, so I went with a Middle Eastern one called Osama Care. You're underwater already, so hey. But yeah, they want to give you that image. If you're skinny, you're pretty. If you're overweight, you're not. If there's any teenage girl sitting in this stadium right now, you're beautiful just the way you are. Don't fall for that garbage. I've been to 300 prisons around the country. I watch the news every night. It's the skinny people who are robbing you. Think about it. You don't hear of a bank robbery. Oh, we got a guy, he's 4'2", 682 pounds. No, he escaped, officer. We couldn't catch him. It's the skinny people. But don't stop eating junk food. We need it. Why? It gives us peace. Yeah, poor countries are always fighting. You know why? They don't have junk food. Wherever there's a I'm just gonna lay down right here. You go ahead. See, that's what we needed in Iraq. A Burger King. Shiite, Sunnite, have it your way.
Welcome to Laughter for All. It's the podcast with comedian Nazareth.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Laughter for All podcast. I'm comedian Nazareth here in our studios in Corona, California, and my guest today is an amazing man, a friend of mine that really is so impactful. So tell your friends to start listening, start watching under comedian Nazareth live on Facebook. Because he's going to talk about health, talk about fitness, and talk about things that will really improve your life and your health. So I can't wait to introduce him. But first, let me tell you what's going on. You know, I flew to Green Bay this weekend. I spoke at a mega church called Celebration. They had several campuses, and I don't like it much when there's several campuses because when I have to talk to the screen and to talk to people I cannot see. So it was difficult, and of course, you know what, normally airport security, they're watching for Middle Eastern people. This time they didn't worry because I'm not Chinese, and that coronavirus, even though I live in Corona, it's scary when you live in Corona and there's a coronavirus that's like 8,000 miles away. But anyway, a lot of people were wearing masks at the airport. A lot of people, especially people from that part of the world, the eastern part, the Asian part. Everybody was wearing masks. And one guy that was sitting next to me, he wasn't, and he sneezed on me, and I didn't say "God bless you." But how we are created for God's pleasure, not for our own. That changes that whole thing changes your mentality and will make you really think how you are living for God, not Him. Not His job is to make sure your life is so pretty and so wonderful. But enough said. We were sad last Sunday. While I was returning. I was at the airport in Green Bay. Called my brother to wish him a happy birthday, and he told me that Kobe Bryant got killed in a helicopter accident. It's really shocking. shocking, yes, but I mean, we're all gonna die. We're all, everybody's gonna die. There's no guarantee. It doesn't matter how much money, how much wealth you have, or how much fame you have. It's sad, I know, and we feel sad. I also, if you pray for Vanessa, his wife, and the three kids that left for loss of their dad and their sister, but also pray for the other passengers on the helicopter. There were, what do you call it, 7 other passengers that died, and they have families, and their families are mourning right now. So pray for those families as well. We lost my wife's uncle in Australia, yesterday, and he's a great man. We love him so much. It's hard when you lose someone. So pray for the families, and remember that death is gonna get you at one point. I mean, this is as encouraging as I can be, but. Let me get to this because I can't wait to introduce this man. We've done prisons together. I've seen the impact he has on people. Let me officially introduce Clark Bartram, my friend. 130 plus magazine covers. This is not magazine. This is magazine covers. I've never been on a magazine cover. This guy has 130 plus. He's an ISSA master trainer, United States Marine rugby player. He's a speaker. He's a best-selling author. He's a television actor. He actually did Batman and movie star. And just just part of his bio. We met her when we used to do the prisons for over 30 years and raising his 2 awesome children, Taylor and Mitch. Clark truly feels the mission in this mission in his calling. He was created to help others succeed, and you will see that today. You will hear that. And his commitment shows with everyone he works with. He has inspired millions of television viewers, and as a co-host of Kiana's Flex Appeal on ESPN, has also hosted his own fitness television show called American Health and Fitness. Adding to his TV exposure, he had a long run on Home Shopping Network and QVC, selling home fitness products branded with his name. He's honored by the National Fitness Hall of Fame for over 30 years of service to people worldwide. Please welcome to the program my good friend Clark Bartram. How are you, brother?
I am awesome, my brother, especially after that amazing introduction, man. I need to take you everywhere I go and just have you open up for me.
I do, but you know what? That's what you did. I mean, we're not adding. There's a lot more I know to do to it, but you know what? This is what bothers me about you, because every man is listening right now. We try to suck our stomach in and to try to hide our stomach, but you always, every time I see you, you're pulling your shirt up to show your 6-pack.
It's actually an 8-pack.
It's an 8-pack, actually. Yeah. How do you get those?
I gained 2 since we last saw each other.
I'm working on 2-pack. I have 1-pack, but 2-pack, and then you get to 8. So, why this? Why become a bodybuilder? Is that you're an Iron Man, a bodybuilder? Is that what it is?
Well, not anymore. I've transitioned from that. That was certainly a part of what I did for years, right? Competitive bodybuilding. That's really the nature of what that title is. You go out on a stage in a little Speedo. You probably have a couple, but, and then you go out and pose for people, and they judge you based upon your symmetry and your size and your definition and all that sort of thing. And it certainly played a role in my career, but it's not it's not who I am anymore, for sure.
But you were born in Ohio, right?
Yes, Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Canton, Ohio. I went to school in Toledo, Ohio, University of Toledo. So, and then your dad wanted you to be a football player for the Ohio State and Cleveland Browns, correct?
Oh yeah, you remember that, huh?
Yes.
I'm glad someone listened to me when I was speaking in those prisons.
And why? What happened? Tell me about it. Because I remember there was a moment with your dad when you told him Tell me about it if you don't mind. Tell the listeners about it.
Yeah, well, I think we all have a story of a parent really wanting something for us, and even as parents, we want something for our kids that oftentimes isn't in God's plan or purpose for our life. And I had the talent. I had reflect on that part of my life and know how important it was to him for me to be that guy, it just wasn't meant for me to be that guy. Even though I had the raw talent to do that, I don't think that I had the support to help me get through some of the sticky points in life that were necessary. Unlike some people where they don't have a great home life, they run to those things. They run to athletics. They run to sports and things like that. I think I ran from it because I was probably trying to, hurt my dad on some level because he wasn't in the home. He wasn't there. He wasn't a part of my life every day, day in and day out. And, that's not a sob story. It's just my recollection of that part of my life and where I was at and why I did the things that I did. It was kind of a troubled time, and I think I may have been rebelling a little bit.
Now, do you tell Mitch what you want him to be? Do you push him in a certain direction, your son Mitch?
Well, yeah, I think, unknowingly we do that, but now, Mitch is 24, Taylor's 28. I sit back and I'm more of a fan of them than I am someone who's trying to push them in a direction. I think at some level all parents try to push our kids because we may be living out some childhood dreams through them. We might be seeing some potential in them and think it's going to be best for them to fulfill that potential when that's not always the case, right? We think we're doing the best thing because as parents, we tell ourselves we're going to do things differently than our parents did to us when we actually still have as much negative impact on our kids as we do positive. And I don't think most parents are willing to accept that part of parenting.
You're
like
right.
I affected my kids in a bad way. And it wasn't because I intended to. It was because I tried so hard not to. As much as that doesn't make sense with words, I think parents who can really sit back and look at their style of parenting and their attempt at doing things right will agree with me that, I probably did something very similar, but there comes a time in life where we mature and we can take a step back and trust that God is leading them, because it's not really our job to push them in a direction. Our job is to, educate them and support them and guide them the best we can, but it's certainly not to dictate to them what they need to do in life because it's not our experience. It's not our life.
How often are they at the gym, your children?
My son doesn't go to the gym at all because as a football player his whole life, in high school he was forced to go to the gym early in the morning, and then in college he was forced to go to the gym in the freezing snow and running around and doing all that. So his gym thing is, he's, for this part of his life, he's pretty much done with that. Mm-hmm. But he exercises. He goes outside and does calisthenics and body weight type things. And then my daughter, on the other hand, she's doing her own version of exercise. She does pole dancing. Oh. It's real popular now. She's not in a strip club or anything. She's at a gym, which it's a legitimate sport, and she is very good at it. Both of my kids are very accomplished athletes, and more importantly than that, they're great human beings. And like I said a minute ago, that I'm fans of them, and I'm also students of them, and I also am also a teacher of them. So it's, this symbiotic relationship that's all-inclusive. We take this pride of being a parent, like I'm in charge and they're underneath me, and that's really not the case, man. If we step back, it's a truly beneficial relationship, two-way street type of deal.
This is amazing advice. I hope every father listens, because we tend to go back to retreat to, hey, I'm in charge and you do what I tell you because I know better. But for you, you're a good man. I mean, we used to do prisons together. We went to hundreds of prisons, and you were amazing because the inmates, the minute they saw you, they got quiet and they started listening to you talk. And in fact, we were talking earlier this morning, me and Gilbert Esquivel, we used to stand behind you like, hey, if we get in a fight, Clark will fight us. But we used to go on stage and just really make fun of these guys, and we go, hey, at the end of the day, you and probably the other one, what's his name, Mr. Universe, the big guy, I forgot his name.
Marlon
Darton, yeah. You guys were around, it's like, yeah, they'll take care of us. But But you are a good person because I'll tell you what. You've been married to Anita, which she's an amazing person for 30 years. How did she deal with you being on the covers of magazine, having looking the way you look? I'm sure there's always women going after you, and I'm just saying that as a regular person who's like just thinking, what would that be? What is that like? What is that? Is that a challenge in your marriage? What was it?
Yeah, it's still a challenge to this day, and I'll be completely transparent and honest, which a lot of people, when doing these sorts of interviews, they're not. But that's never going to be me. I'm always going to keep it real. And to answer your question directly, she is still, to this day, dealing with it. There's a lot of things that we hold on to. There are a lot of memories that are kept. There's a lot of trauma that is stored up in us that will manifest later based upon something that triggers that manifestation of that trauma that was placed in us. So let me give you the most recent, example of that. I am currently getting ready to do a photo shoot. Mm-hmm. And just yesterday, oddly enough, we're talking, and she simply asked me a question: are you going to be shooting with any girls? And my response was no, it's just me by myself. And it just got me thinking about how much I put that woman through over the years. I mean, any woman listening, I just want you to imagine for a second, like your husband going to China with a fitness model, your husband going
Don't say
to
China with the Corona
UK
thing
or
right
Hawaii.
now. Hawaii is better.
Yeah, we'll stay away from China.
Yeah,
Hawaii. But anywhere, even to Corona, California, it's still this thought, right? Our thought life can make us or break us. And oftentimes when you're sitting there and you don't necessarily feel like you measure up to somebody else's standard or somebody else, maybe the way they look, then you start having this conversation of what's happening, what's going on, do I meet that, will he like her, is he, all of these things. So that is trauma. Up. And really does have an impact, most often negatively, in someone's life that will linger. So as many conversations as we had, as many times as I've apologized or made her very aware of the fact that I'm not cheating on her, I wouldn't do any of that sort of thing, the fact still is we're humans living in this experience with so much influence around us and so many examples of the opposite that we tend to go into these conversations that, cause that. And so it's still lingering, but the way she did it, I mean, she was just really such an amazing support. And she's listening in the other room, and she's probably shaking her head. Yep. I know you're right. Keep it up. Continue with this after you hang up this call. And the truth is, I really, really, really understand now better than ever the impact that has had on this, young woman, because when we first started it, she was a little girl. She just leaving her home, just leaving the house with no understanding of what it would be like. Getting married is one thing, but getting married to a fitness celebrity who's traveling the world with the most beautiful women on the planet, man, that's a freaking tough pill to swallow. Hey, good job, honey.
Yeah. It is, and but I mean, she's a beautiful woman herself, and she's very fit, and but she has to keep up with it. But do you? Okay, tell me some of the secrets that people don't know about when they look at this magazine and see all these fitness people, or they see them. Like sometimes you hear this guy going on YouTube trying to sell a product, and he said, "I started taking this product, and now I look like this." Yeah, right. In 2 weeks, you look like Clark Bartram. What is some of the things we don't know about that some lies in the fitness business?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't necessarily call them lies, but they're definitely meant to help in a photo shoot, for example. One of the biggest things that I really love exposing to people, I've taken many people to their very first photo shoot at a very famous studio in Gardena, and it was for a magazine, Ironman magazine. Mm-hmm. And they had fake weights. So what looked like an 80-pound dumbbell was actually like 30 pounds. So I would grab these 80, 100, 150-pound dumbbells and start curling them like they were nothing, and people were amazed. And one time, actually, I did a YouTube video where I put what would probably have been equivalent to 500 pounds if it were real weight on a bench, and I was playing out this little story like, hey, this guy had to run over and save me. The amount of hate that I got on that YouTube video was classic. And even at the end of the video, I put up a disclaimer. I said, this was a joke. It wasn't real weight. It was only about 225 pounds, which I got to lift all day long. And so that's one of the big ones is fake weights. Obviously, tanning and oil and lighting. Photoshop is not a real big one. That's something that I get accused of all the time. And I used to not let the magazines Photoshop me because I don't like to be that guy. I want to be representative of who I am. And I would not let that. But, certainly that happens. But you don't change a person from not looking like a fitness model to looking like a fitness model in Photoshop. You have to have the raw goods there first.
Right.
And then from there, there are the exaggerations and the embellishments with ads, and you can't do anything in 2 weeks other than get started. I mean, your body will begin to change absolutely from the first. I could have everybody right now have a physiological response within 1 second, and their body will change.
How?
That's how beautiful the human body is. Okay? If everyone
Give me an
listening
example.
will just slow down. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. Close your eye.
Okay.
And take one deep breath and exhale. Just one deep breath. Ready? Here we go. I promise you that you feel different right now. I know it for sure. There's not a question in my mind because here's the truth. Most people don't breathe deep. Most people never think about their breath. It's the first thing we do and the last thing we do while we're on this earth. We never have to think about it because our subconscious handles it for us. So we pant, we don't breathe deeply enough. So if anyone, anytime wants to feel different, all they need to do is stop and take a deep breath. 1 is good, but 3 is better, 5 is even better, and so on and so forth. I love this new app that they just came out with. I see advertised on television. It's called Calm, and it just says, stop for 30 seconds and breathe. I promise that if anyone, at any time, whether you're an athlete on the football field or if you're a CEO in the boardroom or if you're a mom with a crying baby, if you stop and breathe for 30 seconds, the human body is so beautiful and so amazing and so adaptive and so wanting to feel better that it's waiting for you to be conscious enough to just do something as simple as take a breath.
That's really true because, I don't do it every single morning, but there's an exercise where for 10 times I take an inhale for 10 seconds, hold it for 20 seconds, and release it for 10 seconds. And it does something. The Bible tells us that we're going to have a new body. Are you going to be disappointed with the new body? Can you improve on that with the new heavenly body than what you have right now?
I would have to say absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt. There'll be no aches and pains. I'll probably be a little taller than 5'8". You know what I mean? I don't know if I'll get any more than 8 abs, but I'm happy with 8 abs. So if a heavenly body is only 8 or 6, I'm good with that. But what a glorious thing, right? If we think about that and we really understand the beauty of that, because we put so much emphasis on our earthly body. And for most people, unfortunately, the emphasis that we place on our humanly body causes us pain because we don't like how we look. We look at all the media. We're influenced by Instagram. We see all of these snapshots of people's lives that, like you reflected on a minute ago, that aren't always the truth. And we can't do that, man. We have to realize that, man, the most beneficial thing someone can do is walk up to a mirror in their home and look at themselves. The Bible says the eyes are the window of the soul. When was the last time someone looked at themselves in the mirror and looked into their own soul and said, I love you exactly the way you are today? You're beautiful, you're strong, you're smart, you're witty, you're fun, you matter. I mean, you could go on with a list of adjectives that describe how amazing you are as a human, because there's no other person on this earth that can fulfill the gift in which you were put on this earth to give this world, man.
Right, but you
But
know
we
what?
get caught up by this body.
Because we have a bully inside of us. The minute we look at the mirror, it goes, "Look at you, you fatso! Look at you, you're losing this." You know, have you ever looked in the mirror and said, "I don't like what I see"? Have you ever done that?
Not physically, but certainly emotionally. When I wasn't, really serving God, and I wasn't really being a nice person, and I was running around only thinking about myself, absolutely. You can look beautiful. Some of the most fit people I know. Matter of fact, me and a couple of my buddies today, I got on the phone and I said, we need to pray for so-and-so because I can sense that something is going on, and this person is amazing physique-wise, one of the best on the planet. But oftentimes people with these great bodies hide behind that facade so people can't get inside to the real part of the human existence.
Right.
That's our soul, that's our spirit, that's our energy. In
a minute, I want to start asking, because I watched your videos and you said something really important, and which is the difference between you eat a boiled egg, 2 hours later you eat a tuna, 2 hours later you eat a vegetable. What is your diet like? What do you eat throughout the day? Let's say you get up in the morning. What's the first thing you do?
Okay, so I'll give you today, for example.
Today.
Now, I'm on a pretty specific regimen right now because I'm doing a photo shoot on Wednesday. But today I got up and I had an egg white omelet with spinach and peppers in it, and there were about 6 egg whites, and I had about 5 ounces of oatmeal with strawberries and blueberries in it, and that was my breakfast. And then I went to the gym and I did my workout. I did a chest workout and I did 1 hour of cardio, and then I had a protein shake. And then I came home. I had 4 ounces of sweet potato mash and 8 ounces of cod and 4 ounces of asparagus. And then my next meal will be 8 ounces of chicken and 4 ounces of broccoli. And then my next meal will be 8 ounces of salmon and 4 ounces of cod. And then, 4 ounces of asparagus. And my next meal will be another protein shake. And then I'll go to bed.
Does Anita make that for you, or you have to you have to prepare those beforehand, or you buy them pre-made? How do you do that? How do you arrange?
Yeah, I have a meal service I use called Icon Meals. So everything's weighed and measured for me, and it's based around this program that I'm following. And it's really convenient, and it's not that expensive. Honestly, I did a comparison the other day in a video. I'm not sure if you saw that IGTV video I did about it, but too often people make this excuse that doing something like this is too expensive. You know what's expensive? Getting sick. You know what's expensive? Being overweight. You know it's expensive? Being on cholesterol and blood pressure and anxiety and all of these medicines that could possibly be reversed by exercising. Now, what I want people to clearly understand, I'm not talking about having 8-pack abs. I'm not talking about being a fitness model. I'm not talking about walking around in a bikini or Speedo. I'm talking about living in your healthiest body. And that is simply a choice. The unfortunate truth is the majority of the people that I come across in life on this Western freaking hemisphere that we live on choose the wrong things because they're lazy, it's convenient, it's packaged, it's cheap in their mind, and then you pay the consequences later on. I don't expect anyone to do what I'm doing. I don't ask my wife to. I don't ask my kids to. I don't recommend it to anybody. It's my life. It's my profession. It's what I do. But I certainly would highly encourage anyone to think about what they're putting in their body before they put it in their body, because food is a drug. It causes a hormonal and chemical response in your body, no different than taking an aspirin or Xanax or
That's
anything
amazing.
else.
I've never heard that. You're right. It's what you eat. Let me be selfish here. I about a few days before New Year's, I decided I stopped all the sugar and the carbs. I only eat vegetables and protein and some dates and some blueberries and stuff. And it's really difficult becoming because you don't have I don't have a lot of options. I work out 3 times a week with about over 500 calories, but I still have high blood pressure. I mean, now, what do you do?
And I said, look, actually, no, it was one of my private coaching clients. I do a lot of coaching with men over 50, specifically around the world. And I had a new guy, and we were doing an on-take interview, and we were doing a deep dive. And he's a huge real estate developer back in the Midwest, and he's very successful. And he was starting to get down on himself because he's like, Clark, I can't do this. And I said, look, I could not come and do your job, right? Why would you want to come and try and fulfill what I do? I am a professional fitness model. If I don't look good, I'm a fitness professional, not just a model, but I make my entire living off of the way I look,
Right.
off of my ability to communicate that message. I don't expect, I don't get up and do comedy. But if you trained me how to do comedy, and I would never be as good as you, but I could certainly be okay. I can make a couple people laugh here and there, but it's not what I do. So you need to really understand that your schedule is your schedule. Now, in regards to blood pressure, that could be a family trait. That could be something that is just there. I know some really, really fit people with high blood pressure. But one of the best things you can do for the blood pressure, you said you don't do it all the time. So if you do it more consistently, is the breathing thing that you're doing.
Right.
Stress adds to that. And stress doesn't always need to be like painful. It could be, oh, I got to run. I got a 3:00 podcast. Oh, I got to take, my daughter to school. Oh, I got to go pick up the dry cleaning. And that is stressful. And that adds the same amount of impact on the heart, which increases its beating, which increases the pressure, which increases, the blood pressure. Then what do? We automatically opt to go get a pill because that's what we do in this Western culture. Where if you go to China, oh, no, not China, we go to Japan,
Go to China this week.
Somewhere else, they don't do that first thing. They look at a plant-based diet. They look at Tai Chi, they look at breathing, they look at exercise. You go to Japan, you go to any of these other countries, there are parks all over the place. You see old people swinging around on things and doing things. I'm like, look at this, man. You don't see this in America.
No.
We're
too busy.
We took the wrong approach, man.
You're right. Now, that gets me to the question of anti-aging versus aging process. You had a great YouTube about for men or people over 40 and what to do, and you had 5 things. Tell us about that. That's really interesting. What's the difference between anti-aging and aging slowly?
Yeah,
or slowing the aging
there is
process?
no anti-aging, right? There is no anti. Think about that for a second. It's either you're against aging, like anti-war, right? We're against war. But reversing the aging process is a big one that I think is just ridiculous when I hear people say, you cannot reverse the aging. It's, okay. What do I always say? I forgot.
You were talking about
It's, uh,
no anti-aging, but aging slowly.
Right. So you need to give yourself a physiological advantage over your chronological age. I want you to think about that a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a physiological advantage over your chronological age, that is what, to me, slowing the aging process is. You can slow it. I mean, time is time. A second is a second, a minute is a minute, and so on. It's never going to slow. But as it relates to how we look and how we function, here's the deal. I'm 56.
Mm-hmm.
I can go out on a football field today. I can run and play like a high school kid, a college kid, and even some pro guys they look at me and they'll go, whoa, dude, who is this guy and where did he come from? And what I've done is I got off the sidelines. This is a metaphor, right?
Right.
There are old men my age who are physically and literally on the sidelines of life. They're watching me. They're going, how can this guy do this? You know why? Because I stepped over that line. I chose to get off the sideline and onto the playing field of life and start running around and playing. Most guys at 56 will say, oh, I can't do that. Oh, you're not supposed to be able to do that at 56. Who's going to tell me what I can and cannot do at my age?
Right.
Me.
Right.
And only me. Unless God has another plan for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, and until then, and hopefully that doesn't happen, I have the option to get up off my butt and go out and walk. Now, you don't need to get on a football field. But you know what? You need to turn off the TV and get up off your butt. Here's another very, very, very simple thing that anyone can do.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm sitting on a chair right now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stand up. I just stood up. I'm going to sit back down. I'm going to stand back up. I'm going to sit back down. If I do that 10 times, you know what? I just did a set of squats.
You know what we
I'm
call
on the
that?
couch.
Can't make up your mind. I'm just kidding. That's very
Yeah,
important.
exactly.
That's true.
To the fridge? Nope. To the
It's-
fridge? Nope.
It's hard to do it on the recliner watching TV. Get up and sit down. It's like takes a while to push off. But that's a very interesting thing. Yes, that's good. And then you said something about drinking, half of your body weight in water.
Yeah, that's so basic. If you think about your human body, we're somewhere around 75% water. Your brain, your muscles, your skin, your cells, and you're 75% water. Beer is not water. Wine is not water, even though Jesus turned it into that and all those sorts of things. Iced tea is not water. Clark, I drink a lot of iced tea. You know what? You drink a lot of iced tea. Tell me you drink a lot of water. Well, I put Crystal Light in it. Those things dehydrate you, especially tea and coffee and all of those sorts of things, right? If you drink a bunch of coffee like I did today, I was waiting for my car to charge. I'm having breakfast in the morning. You want another cup of coffee, sir? Yeah. I peed about 300 times today because it was dehydrating me.
I do
Because I
that.
drank so
I
much
was on the
coffee.
plane yesterday, Clark, and I had 2 cups of coffee and like 2 bottles of water because I'm trying to drink. And my goodness, I don't know what the people on the plane thought, but it's like this guy is gonna hijack the plane because he's keeping going back and forth
Yeah, I
to
thought
the
you were a
bathroom.
terrorist. You look pretty
Yeah,
scared.
during September 11, I wouldn't. I would just put a diaper on and just sit. I don't want to create any problems. But tell me, so how much? Okay, let's say I weigh 182 pounds. How much water should I drink? What kind of water should I drink?
Well, you want to get as pure water as possible. The water that we drink here in Southern California, I don't recommend it to anybody. And then bottled water, I'm suspect of bottled water too. Honestly, I feel like there's some of those brands. I feel like if I walked up to the factory, you'd see a bunch of workers with bottles under a tap at a faucet on the side of the building, filling them up, laughing like. I heard Evian. This was a story. I don't know if it's folklore or not. But Evian was naive, spelled backwards, in that the water is just simply tap water, like nothing that they claim it to be. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm not, this disclaimer, I'm not bashing Evian, but that was just something I heard. So what I'm saying is, be careful. Like if you're going to buy this pH water that everyone's into now, make sure it measures out to the pH that they're saying. Just stick a little freaking pool stick in there and see if the pH measures out to be what it is.
Really? I'm
We
drinking
always
right
take-
now. I'm drinking plus. I got it from Sam's Club. It says plus pH balance, purified water with electrolytes for added for taste. I didn't know electrolytes taste good, but pH balance. So I don't have to trust that. I have to go do what? Get a pool? What? A pool?
The little pool things, they have the 4 different colored, and it tells you if the chlorine's balanced and the pH is right and all that sort of thing. You can stick one of those in that water, and it will tell you where the pH is at. Just like these sticks they have for people who are doing the keto diet. You pee on them, and it tells you where whether you're in ketosis or not at pH.
Do you recommend keto?
I mean, here's my point. No, I'll get to that here in a second. But don't believe everything you see. That's what I'm saying. Just because someone's selling a bottle that says it's pH balanced water, does it mean it's that? No. I mean, how many companies have been out there that have sold something until they got caught? And then they got caught and they got a little fine, but they somebody shares or that's in a magazine or on Instagram or wherever is exactly what they say it is.
Where
man.
do you get your water,
You
Clark?
know?
Where do you get? What do you drink? What kind of water do you drink?
So we use a filter. We bought one of those filters, and we use our own tap water and run it through. It's a Brita filter. Takes out 99.9% of all of the contaminants and all of the things that are added to the water. You can taste the difference. You know, and there's a little red light that blinks when the filter is no longer good, and you know that's it, man. And so that's what we do. We stop buying bottled water because our daughter is very eco-friendly, and she's like, "Look, you guys are using so many water bottles. They're throwing them in the ocean." So we're like, "Okay, we respect that." And that goes back to this whole parenting thing. Our daughter came to us and pointed out something that she felt we were doing that could have been done better. Instead of being the parents like, no, we you know, I said, you know, actually it was my wife. She said, you know what, Taylor, you're right, and thank you, and we won't. and from that day forward, we haven't. Every once in a while, I'll go to the store and buy a bottled water. You know what I mean? But I just get the one that I like how it tastes. Aquafina is my favorite, or Dasani. You know, my son won't drink Dasani because it's made by the Coca-Cola company, and he's got an issue with that. So now that I think of it, I won't support that anymore. You know?
Interesting. Yes. So, so for slowing the age process, you drink water. You manage your stress. What else?
Yeah, so something that nobody will disagree with. I was watching a video the other day on how to boost your testosterone naturally. And there are a lot of gray areas in that part, but this is circling back to your question about the aging process. Nobody on this planet who knows anything about the human body and the amazing ability that it has to adapt will argue the fact that exercising is the single most important thing that any person on this planet could do, in a wheelchair or not. You can still move your limbs on the upper body in many cases. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's movement. Exercise just means movement. It doesn't mean joining a gym and bench pressing 300 pounds and wearing, you know, some outfits or being embarrassed or ashamed. It means movement. It means standing up and down off a couch 10 times. So that is the single most important thing that any person listening or not listening can do, is move more than they did yesterday. So here's the argument I get all the time. Clark, well, my UPS driver just dropped something off. I'm a UPS driver. I run all day. I get that. But the human body is adaptive. It's adapted to your route. It knows you're going to drop off 57 boxes today. You're going to drop down 3 steps. You're going to run up a driveway. You're going to knock on a door. And it figures it out. It's that amazing. But the minute you throw the curve, couple weights, how about jumping, dancing, anything, you know, sex. It's exercise.
The opinions of the guest does not represent the opinions of Laughter for All and the podcast. No, you're right. It just so do you take any and do you do any detox? Do you do any supplements? What do you do, or what do you think? I mean, not you. You're in a different category as a normal person. Like anybody, a woman over 40, a man over 40. What do you think? Food is enough? Healthy food is enough? Should we take supplements? Should we do detoxing? What do you recommend?
Well, if you eat enough, if you're very conscious about your food choices and where they come from.
Yeah. I don't know where they come from,
if
but
you're getting
I know.
grass-fed beef, grass-fed beef and free-range eggs and some of these more healthier choices, and you're eating enough, then you're getting enough protein. You're getting enough micronutrients. You're getting the macronutrients. You're getting all of what your body needs. However, if you're a person who skips meals, if you're a person who eats fast food and processed food, then no, you're not getting the micronutrients. That's the vitamins, the minerals, and all of these little smaller things that your body needs to operate on. There's a cascade of beautiful harmony that happens in the human body with all of these different systems that work synergistically together. And when we disrupt that by eating poorly, then we're not giving it the nutrients. So that's where the multivitamin comes in. That's where some of the other designer supplements come in. So I think, the average person cannot be hurt by taking a multivitamin. They cannot be hurt by, doing some of the things that they might be aware that they need. Like, for example, if someone's anemic, then the natural the natural remedy for that is iron.
Right.
So if someone's anemic and they need iron, then taking an iron supplement makes sense. And otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So it needs. Here's one of the biggest things I have with every one of my coaching clients. So if you were to hire me today,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I would ask you is when was the last time you had a blood test? Most guys tell me, oh, it's been years. And I'm like, well, we can't go any further because I don't want to throw stuff at a wall expecting something to stick. Like, I'm not going to give you a generalized program. I want to know exactly what's going on. I need to know where your testosterone level is. I need to know where your estrogen and your LDL and your HDL and your sex hormone binding globulin and all of these different things that help me understand some of the areas in your life that you may have overlooked because you never really took the time
Mm-hmm.
to look at that,
So you are, and we'll get to that later, that people can, and a person can call you and you can call, you still have slots and time open, and we'll talk about that. But do you detox? Do you recommend people to detox?
Some people believe in detox, others don't. I happen to be a believer in it. It's just, I'm a common sense thinker. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I never acted or pretended like I am. But I'm a very, intuitive creature, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if there are toxins floating around in this world, and some of them from the environment and some of them from internal stress, creates toxins, creates all of these things that wage war against us in our body. So if it stands to reason that if there are toxins entering into our body from external sources like exhaust fumes and, if you work in a petroleum station, then if they're in your body, you
have
should
to
be able
bring
to take
that
them
up.
out of your
Just
body.
because I'm Middle Eastern, you have to bring this petroleum station
Exactly.
and the 7-Eleven water. We're selling good water, and we have no petroleum inhalation. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, it would just, to me, in my little common sense pea brain, it's like, okay, if it's in there, then we can do something to get it out. And what the best thing?
Wow.
Drinking water, filtering out your kidneys and your liver and all of these natural filtration systems that in your body that are bound up because they're clogged up, right? If you go to your sink and you have a wife with long black hair, and you don't clean your sink in the shower for a while, and you look down at that drain, what's going to be in that drain? Long black hair.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know.
And you need to go in and pull that out so that can allow the water to filter through better. That's a crude analogy for the human body, but I think most people can picture that in their mind and understand that water flowing through there can help push that stuff out. Then there are other things like tea. Dandelion root is a good one.
Dandelion root.
Marshmallow. Yeah,
Really?
dandelion root. You go and take that. Yep, and you take that, and that'll make you pee more, which is getting rid of toxins in your body because you're getting rid of the things in your body.
Interesting. So that's an easy one because I know when I hear detox, I feel you have to be drinking a lot of liquids, no eating, staying home because you can't go anywhere because you have to be near your restroom. Is that wrong or?
I mean, you don't always need to be pooping to detox. It's a good way to get rid of it because the average person, honestly, I talk to so many people. Matter of fact, I'm going next week to Bowling Green, Kentucky to speak to a group, and I bring up poop all the time, and it's because I have women ask me, how can I get rid of this pooch in my stomach? I've been doing cardio for hours and it's not going away. And I'm like, it's not the cardio that's going to get rid of that pooch. I asked them, when was the last time you had a bowel movement? And they're like, oh, there are a lot of people, 3-4 days is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. There's so many prescription drugs. There's so much stress. There's so much bad processed food that we get bound up. And we can't pass that through, and if you're not having meal in, meal out, then you're not regular. You should eat a meal and then poop that meal within a couple hours.
You know, what if that
It's just
pouch is a baby? She's pregnant and she doesn't know it. But no, I'm trying to be. You know what I'm doing? I'm holding right now. If you were here, I'm holding this. You're talking to a comedian about pooping, and I'm holding my tongue because there's so many ways I can go into jokes like that. But that's very important. You need to poop, people.
I'm lobbing up. I'm lobbing up home runs for you left and right.
I
Man.
know, I can't. When I go and talk, I can't talk about poop. I have to be clean. But you're right. So detoxing doesn't necessarily have to be taking these certain medications and certain natural stuff that were really said. You can just drink a lot of water, have some dandelion and other stuff, right? Is that what? That's what
You should always start everything mellow. Everything you do, from going to the gym to getting in a relationship to even Christianity, right? I mean, some people come in so hot into their walk with God, they burn out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if we come in and just, slowly kind of work our way through, and detoxing is no different. You don't want a stomach ache. You want to be cramping up. You don't want to be, locked into the bathroom. So if you do something, you start with more water. Eat celery. There's some old ads with celery that are so funny, and so you would die laughing. I'll have to copy one of them and send it to you, because they call it a toothbrush for your colon. It goes in there. You think about the amount of fiber that is in celery,
right?
And it takes more calories to consume it than there are in it. So it's like a negative calorie food. I ate 4 stalks today, and I eat celery every single day. I love it. The crunchiness, the saltiness of it. That's all I do.
Tell me about tell me about the frog. You're a representative for this machine that uses your entire body. And is this a frog for any person? Someone over 40 or 50, can they use the frog? And I want people. Where can people go see you on that frog, and where can they buy that if they need it?
Yeah, well, clarkbartram.co is the site that I used to use, but I just actually sold that entire business to another guy. I'll still be the spokesperson. But to answer your question, yes and no. In theory, anyone can use it, but I wouldn't put everyone on it because it would be dependent upon that person's ability. Now, to give you a visual representation, it's 4 wheels with a safety pad in between these 4 wheels, and there are axles like a little cart. And then there are bands connecting the front and the back together, and you go horizontally on this thing, and you do like a squat and a press at the same time horizontally, and you can move through space, and then there's a clutch in the wheel where you can adjust it, and then it will be stationary. You could also use it vertically. So it's a very multi-dimensional machine that I've taken all around the world, literally, from the NFL to the NBA to the NHL to the all over the place. Yeah. And Anita, tell Roger I'll be out in a few minutes, please.
Yeah, tell Roger, please,
and,
Anita.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a client showing up out here. But so, yeah, it's a great machine, and I've moved on. I'm promoting a new product right now called the X3S. It's like this little squat machine that you can use. It's cool. It's a great device. But I'm always, anything that I promote, I know for sure that it works. I'm not some huckster that just sells something for the sake of profit.
No, I
want
know
to sell
you
someone
are
a
not.
product that I know works, Well, people call you that on the internet.
You've always been genuine, and that's why, you've always been genuine. You're a believer. You're a good husband. You're a good dad. If someone wants to say, hey, you know what? I want to change my life. I want to be healthy. I want to hire a coach, someone like, I want to hire Clark Bartram. What does that look like for someone to, what do they have to do?
So what they do is, they would reach out to me. Typically, most people send me a DM on Instagram. That's how people communicate these days. And I get their phone number, and I really honestly interview people because I don't work with everyone. And that's not to sound pretentious or like I'm better than anyone. I just don't waste my time with anyone who's not willing to pay my rate, for one. The Bible says the laborer is worthy of their hire. I finally put a value on what I do. But I also don't want people to waste my time in the sense of I go all in. I give it 100%. And if the people that I'm working with don't match my energy, then it's not a fit for me. And I'll refer them to someone else. And that's it. I won't take any money from them. I won't even sell them a book, because Well, I will if I think they're going to use it. But I'm really particular because I want people to see results. So basically, they reach out to me, and we have a little discussion, and from that discussion, then we determine next steps, and then we go in. I just had a consultation with a new guy yesterday, and he's like, dude, this I've already gotten my value out of this thing. This is amazing what's happened so far. Because again, it's about intuition. It's about I pray before I go into these meetings. I realize it's not me. I ask the Spirit of God to allow me to see things in people that they might not see in themselves. So I rely heavily on really on the Spirit of God to help me be more than I am, as a human.
So you do like you were start with their diet. You look at their blood test and supplement. You start a workout for them.
And then we get into mindset. Mindset's the biggest part of it all because that's what holds anyone. Anyone can go on YouTube and look up workout programs. Anyone can go Google a keto diet. That's all over the internet. The thing that keeps people back is themselves. It's the hurdles they place in front of themselves, like, oh, I'll never do this. I've tried before. I'm fat because my family's fat. I'm a loser. This is hard. I got a birthday party. I could rattle off a billion excuses. And you know what? I could shut it down. I shut it down. I'm like, stop. I don't want to hear it. I don't have time for that. Are we going to do this or not? Matter of fact, I have a client sitting out in my garage waiting for me right now, and we had a heart-to-heart the other day. And I told him, this is, I'm not taking your money anymore unless we're both engaged in this. And he looked at me and he was like, you know what? You're right. And I'm sorry. I said, don't be sorry. You know what I mean? I just want you to get what you want to get, because he had shared some personal things with me that really connected with me. And I'm like, I want you to have that too. And I know that I've been given this gift and this calling. It's more than a gift. It's a calling to do what I do.
Right.
I don't do this because I want to.
We have 4 minutes for him to stay in the garage for now. But before I close, I want to. What is something funny? Anything funny happened during a photo shoot? During something very funny that happened to you in your travel and whatever that we can talk about quickly.
I mean, there's funny stuff that happens every day, man. It's just humans are funny. Period. I think one of the funniest things ever, and probably one of the most embarrassing things, is I was on a photo shoot one time, and this person was having to do a leg press, and I was actually helping the photographer because I like to learn both sides of the camera. And this person was new in front of the camera, and he was doing a leg press. And he was kind of a shy guy, and these weren't fake weights in this case because we were actually in a gym, and there were actually members running around, and my job was to keep people out of the background and so on and so forth. So this guy's going down, and you'll think this is funny because it's something I do all the time, but he accidentally farted right in front of everybody, and he was so embarrassed. He was doing a leg press, and the guy asked him to hold it, and he's holding, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of holding, it's all loud, and everybody heard it. And it went from like dead silence to everyone dying laughing, and this guy almost getting crushed by the weights.
Oh,
and I know that's not what you were looking for,
no,
but that to me was funny.
Yeah, I know. I never thought we were talking about poop and farts, but that's okay. I'm a comedian, and I can handle it. But I gotta tell you, in closing, I know you gave us a lot about from breathing to drinking water to knowing where you get your water to eating healthy to the mindset. I mean, there's a lot you've given us. Normally I ask our guests to close with an encouraging story or something, but you've covered a lot. You've encouraged a lot of people, and so I just want to thank you, man. I know I met you. We've spent a lot of time many years ago, but we have not, because you're all over the world, I'm all over the world, and we can't. But I would love to get together with you, my wife Maha, Anita, and we just have some just fiber. We'll just have fiber. We'll have celery and water, pH balanced water. But thank you so much again. How can people get a hold of you? How can people send you if they want some advice? If they want to know more, guys, Clark has so many things on YouTube. You put Clark Bartram, and you're gonna learn a lot. And there's a lot. And every supplement you see video he's selling and stuff in his own name. This guy doesn't just do it for money. He is doing it because he believes in these things. So, where can people get a hold of you completely, other than Instagram under Clark Bartram?
Yeah, they can just email me at clark@clarkbartram.com. But I do want to close with a story to cover up for that whole fart thing.
Not
because
fart.
I think it's
we can't
important.
close on a fart joke.
Yeah. So you may have heard me share this before. And years ago, I had a TV show called American Health and Fitness, and there was a lady on my show. She was probably 4'11". She was the wardrobe consultant. And I walked up to her while she was cooking her lunch. She was 4'11", about 200 pounds. And I had all these beautiful girls on my show. And I walked up to her and I said, Sally, I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm making my lunch. What are you making? She said, oh, I'm making chicken and broccoli. And remember, like I said, she's about 4'11", 200 pounds, the complete opposite of what these girls who were on my show looked like. But they had a horrible attitude. They were worried about how they looked in their clothes. Did they have dimples in their butt? And I looked at Sally, and like I said, the Bible says the eyes are the window of the soul. Sally looked at me, like right into my soul, and she said this, and I want everyone to take this away. If there's one thing you remember, it's this, what Sally said. She said, Clark, this is the body that God gave me, and I'm going to live in it healthy. That was the most powerful statement I've ever heard in my entire life. And if everyone walks away with that in their mind, if they go look in the mirror right now and say, this is the body that God gave me, and I'm going to live in it healthy. And I promise you, it will make everything change. It will make everything easier. It won't be a struggle so much anymore because you're not striving to look like something that might not be possible, but doesn't mean you can't be healthy, and it doesn't mean you're not beautiful the exact way you are.
Amen. That is so powerful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Let's close with that. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Clark Bartram, Bartram. Check him out, follow him, and if you want some coaching, like you said, like he said, it'll be worth it, and it's not cheap because this man can literally change your life. So thank you so much for being on the show, and thank Anita for dealing with you for 30 years and being able to let you on the phone for an hour here. Love you. Thank you so much, Clark.
I love you too, brother.
Thank
We'll see
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
And thank you so much for listening to and watching the Laughter for All podcast. We try to be funny, but sometimes there's information that I feel really will help you, will change your life. And we don't want to let that go. We want you to hear it. That's why I'm always asking questions that I feel it will help me, but help you too, as my fans, as my listeners. So encourage your friends. You know what? Do us a favor. If you learned anything from any of our podcasts, if you laughed once, would you share it with your friend and say, hey, would you subscribe to this Laughter for All podcast? They're crazy, they're funny, but they have some serious stuff that really can improve and help your life and encourage you. Would you do that? I know people say we will. I maybe. Would you do that? Would you go to NazarethUSA.com, and then there's a podcast, and you click on the podcast, and you subscribe or encourage your friend to subscribe on any of the podcast medias from iTunes, Spotify, and all these things. That would really help, and just keep laughing. It's really good for you. It will help you. Keep breathing, keep drinking water, keep laughing, and the other things we talked about today. Love you guys, and thank you. We'll see you next week. Next week, my guest is comedian Gilbert Esquivel, the funniest Latino you'll ever meet. So we'll see you next week. God bless you, and have a great week.